so I can see video is recording and audio is recording. So we are good to go. Just make sure that you are fairly close to the mic, but we should be good to go.
How's this? Good? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome back
Hello.
to another episode of Bitches in Business.
Yes, I believe this is episode 12.
Okay.
Wow. We've made it to 12 episodes. That's like a milestone.
It really is.
And we're in our new location, as you can see. So we had talked about how we really wanted like a pink room. And then I realized that I have a pink room in my house. So we've turned it into our podcast room, which is awesome. And Jeremy makes fun of me because he's like, are you so happy that you have your own podcasting room? And I'm like, yeah, actually I am. Yeah. And he's like, nobody has one of those.
I'm happy about that.
But now I do. So lovely. So this week we are drinking sparkling rosé. Do you know this brand? It's
No, I don't. I've never heard of it.
Unduraga Rosé Royale. Rosé Royale.
Rosé Royale.
Rosé Royale.
Patrice Royale.
And it's from Chile.
Okay.
I've never had a rosé from Chile before, so we'll see how this goes. Oh, should we cheers? Thank you. That's not bad.
I like it.
You know what? This would actually be really good in a mimosa. Love. All right. How was your day, Allie?
Well, for people who don't know, I run a football pool.
Yes.
And it is like wrangling cats because everyone's like, oh, I didn't realize the deadline was today. Oh, I didn't realize I had to pay the money today. Oh, and it's just,
even though you've sent out about 4 emails every single week over the last 4 weeks.
A million emails. Like, it's just crazy. So, yeah, that's been my life today.
Yeah, that's not really that surprising. But you know what? You've been running this football pool for so long and you've done such a great job at it.
Thank you.
So I think I'm really excited for this year. Not only do we have a lot of people in this year, but I mean, that's unfortunately the job that you have to have being in charge of this stuff is you finally had to set limits and you've had to say, this is what we're doing. This is the deadline. I won't take, anything else after that deadline. Too bad. It is what it is. Be an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we've all been playing football pools for a long time now. I'd say we should all know how it works.
Yeah. I think this is like the 7th or 8th year.
I think that you're right.
That's crazy.
And it's kind of cool to think we used to do this all on paper.
Oh yeah. I used to keep pieces of paper
every week
in an envelope. I kept the money in an envelope and it's completely evolved. Now it's online.
Yeah, now it's all online. Yeah. Thank God. And it's so easy. You can just go online, do your picks, change it if you need to.
It is so easy to go online and do your picks.
It's very
Isn't that
easy.
Funny?
I know. And I did mine yesterday. Took me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Honestly, and you should really already know who you're going to pick anyway. So it's really not that hard.
Yeah.
My thing is I always forget to send the money, but I'm very good at getting it in before the deadline.
Yeah.
But there's been a few years where you've had to text me and be like, hello, it's 5:19.
Yeah, I know. Right. It's like, I don't know if you're going to go on your phone and do your picks, just go to the next app, which your bank app and send an e-transfer. Oh my God. That's
or
so hard.
set up auto transfers or pay all at once.
Yeah.
A
lot of people have paid all at once, which is nice. So I never have to chase them again.
Which is nice. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, no, I'm really excited about the football pool.
Me too.
And then we're also doing a fantasy draft league as well, which I've never done before. Have you done one of those before?
Yeah, I've done it a few times.
Okay. How did you feel about this time?
I mean, it was okay.
I just don't know enough about players. I'm pretty good with the teams. I have a general understanding. It makes sense for me to, research what I need to research, all that kind of stuff. The players are so difficult, especially when they're constantly on injury, off injury, trading, whatever. And monitoring that all week and then taking people off of your bench and putting them back on and who's playing what and who's off on this week. And it's a lot. So I was kind of forced into it because they needed a 10th person and I had 30 minutes to figure out who I wanted to draft. And I'm like researching. I'm trying to look at all these different websites, trying to figure out who I'm going to draft. So I feel pretty good about my team, but it's like, I don't fucking know.
I know. I mean, I didn't do any research.
Yeah, but at least you know way more about this kind of stuff than I do.
Like I had no idea. Like today, or yesterday when I was doing my weekly pick, I was like, I don't even know like who the quarterback is for most of these teams. Usually I know like at least who the starting quarterback is for each team. This year I'm like, like so much has changed.
A lot has changed. Well, because Drew Brees retired last year, right? Yeah. Okay, so he's not playing for the Saints anymore. And of course, like, you know, Brady's gone to the Buccaneers, and then Mac Jones is starting for Patriots. Like it's a lot. There's a lot that has happened within the league.
There's so much.
Yeah, I'm excited to be a part of this draft because I think it's hopefully going to get me more involved in football and paying more attention. But it's a lot. It's a lot to keep up on with these players. I mean, we've had sports on at work over the last couple of days because we always have like the news or sports on or something. And Marcus is in love with football, so that's going to be on for the end of time now until the season's done. But it's like I'm watching the ticker, and there's all these different players that are like coming off of injury, coming off of waivers, all this stuff.
COVID list.
How am I supposed to pay attention to that? So, but I'm excited to say the least.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm.
So you have your night all planned. You've ordered pizza for your first game.
Cowboys are playing. That's my team. They're playing against Tampa Bay. We're probably going to lose, but that's okay. So by the time this comes out, the Cowboys have probably lost their first game. But you know what? If they haven't, good for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing though. There's a lot of upsets. You have no idea, right? Who did you take, Arizona or Tennessee?
I think I picked Tennessee.
I picked Tennessee too.
That's a very difficult one for me.
That's how I felt. I had Arizona, and then the more that I started to read about it, I changed it to Tennessee, and it was a very difficult one. I'm excited for this season, and I think watching Ballers more has actually gotten me like more excited because I understand it a little bit more. Yeah. And there's so much that goes into a sports team, you know, so
there really is.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Now, if only we could get the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders show in Canada, and then we could follow along.
Once again, if anybody knows how to watch Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders making the team, please
that
DM
would be
us.
Great.
We need to watch it.
We need to watch it.
Hopefully we haven't lost all of our listeners talking about football. So,
oh yeah, I guess so. Hey, not a lot of, but you know what? Maybe we've opened it up into a whole new group of listeners. Okay. That'll be one of our only like football segments. Maybe every couple of weeks we'll talk about football. We'll but we can talk about Housewives. We watched the new episode last night.
Yes. Oh my God, that was so good.
Why I liked this episode is because it felt like a lot happened.
Yeah.
The last few weeks, it feels like you've only gotten to see, 2 dinners and a lot happens, but not really a lot happens.
Yeah.
This episode, it felt like it went on forever.
It did.
Which I like, because I'm always so disappointed when all of a sudden it's like scenes from next week. I'm like, fuck, I feel like that episode just started.
Yeah.
So I was happy that it felt like a lot happened, but a lot happened. I was so stressed by the end of watching this episode. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tension.
Lots, and I think it's only going to get worse.
I agree. I feel bad. Like, I think it would be so interesting to be somebody who works in a restaurant or works in a store or is one of their private chefs or whatever when they have these events. Because I mean, when Sutton and Kyler are in that store and they're fighting
really
with each other.
store.
Yeah, the extremely fancy store that they had a private meeting in this store where they brought them jewelry specifically for them to purchase. And then the people who are working in the store are like laughing at them fighting at each other. I mean, it would be awkward. And like, think about those chefs that come and work for them and then have to listen to them fight about the most stupid shit.
Yeah.
And like, there's all these women that are spending all this money to have this incredibly fancy dinner, and then they're like bickering over nothing.
I mean, I would probably pay to be one of those chefs and listen to them fight. So, I mean, whatever.
It would be very interesting. That's
Absolutely.
For sure. What a different world, hey?
I know. Question. Do you think that Erika's going to show up to the reunion?
Ooh, I never really thought about that.
I just thought about that for the first time last night because they all did an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, but like right at the beginning of the season. No, she wasn't on there, and Andy said it's because she's not doing press this season, which fine. I wonder if she will show up to the reunion.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen this before where typically people who don't carry on to the next season don't come to the reunion.
If there's something that like
if they get
Adrienne
fired.
Maloof or Lisa Vanderpump, there's been not very many times where a housewife has not shown up to the reunion. But
they don't generally carry on to the next season when they don't.
No. I mean, it happened once. New Real Housewives of New Jersey. Jacqueline Larita didn't show up one year, and then she was back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But so she didn't get fired. She just didn't want to be at the reunion.
It was actually such a weird situation. They had already started filming the next season by the time they filmed the reunion.
That's weird.
And she had gotten into a fight with Teresa the day before they shot the reunion. So she didn't show up.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they were already filming. So it's like, I couldn't really fire her like mid-season.
But like, did Adrian and Lisa get fired from the show, or did they just quit the show?
Well, I mean, they got fired because they didn't show up. But I mean, I'm sure Lisa wouldn't have come back.
Right.
Adrian might have.
So that's kind of what I wonder about Erika. I mean, it already kind of seems like she was a bit checked out the past couple of seasons anyways.
It would probably be in her best interest not to
come back.
And probably not to show up to the reunion.
Exactly, because you look at all of the things that they talk about on the show. I mean, at least on the show a little bit, you kind of feel like you're in your safe space a little bit. Like you kind of feel like you're not getting bombarded by questions or anything.
Yeah, until it airs.
Yes, but at least like we're at a reunion, it's like you're sitting on a couch and you have nothing else to do but answer those questions, you know? And so at least you can kind of deflect a little bit when it's just the regular part of the season. So that's kind of interesting. And you could leave if you want to, you know, if you walk off of a reunion, it's kind of a big deal. Yeah. So I don't know. I never really thought about that, but based on how she's been acting over the past couple of seasons, it wouldn't surprise me if she didn't come back.
I agree.
And I mean, you're right. It is in her best interest not to, because of everything that's going on in the press. So it's very hard to say.
Yeah.
I've like watching the episode last night, I found like a renewed sense of like wanting to do my hair and my makeup like way better. So today I'm trying like the slicked like ponytail. Yeah, because it looks good. Like, thank you. But I'm trying to like, I always do the same thing. Like I always just like curl or straighten my hair, you know? And so I've been like watching videos and like trying to like do my hair better because I'm so bad for things like that. So Housewives, at least you inspired me to look
I keep trying to do my makeup different, but I've been watching too much RuPaul's Drag Race, and I literally like I did my makeup the other day while Drag Race was on, and I was like, whoa.
I know you texted me and you were like, I have way too much makeup on, and I'm like, why? And you're like, because I just put on too much makeup. And I'm like,
looked crazy. I looked crazy.
Yeah, you're like, I look like a drag queen. I'm like, why? I still have never seen that show, and you know what? I probably should watch it because I've heard nothing but good things about it.
So good.
And I know that RuPaul's so funny, so eventually I will watch it.
It's so good. Okay, so I want to move on to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yes.
Which I know you haven't seen, but
you know what? We started watching a little bit of the first episode last night, and I did find it really interesting for what I saw, so I will start watching it.
It's very good, and there's only one season, so you don't have to catch up on very much.
Thank God, because I had to binge so much of Real Housewives so that I could be on the same level as you, so.
Yes. Okay, so I thought this would be a fun little game for us.
Okay, love.
I'm going to read the taglines from the new season, and we'll just rate them on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, God. Okay?
Oh,
so this is for season 2. The taglines are already out.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, it's my favorite thing.
Can we talk about some of the taglines for the first season for 1 second? Because what was the one last night? I'm the pioneer.
Oh, just like my pioneer ancestors, I'm blazing a new trail.
Dear Lord.
Okay.
And didn't Jen have one that was really bad? There was one that was just so cringy.
Okay, you pull up the taglines from season 1, and I'll start reading the taglines from season 2.
Please do.
So Heather, that's the one that we were just talking about.
Oh, okay.
Her new tagline is, I was raised a Mormon, but now I'm raising a glass of champagne.
Okay. Wait, was she the one that was like really heavily Mormon and then
it was excommunicated?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay. So that's not terrible.
I would say that's like 5 out of 10.
That's a 5 out of 10. Wait, are we rating this for like how bad they are or how good they are?
Like how good?
Oh, okay.
It's a 5 out of 10.
I'd say a 5 out of 10.
And also, you're not just raising a glass of champagne, you're actually raising 3 daughters. So like
oh yeah,
priorities.
She was the one that was like, yeah, I was raised Mormon and like you couldn't drink, you can't swear, you can't do anything. Now it turns out like I love homosexuals, I love to drink, I love champagne. Yep. Okay, love.
Okay, Meredith Marks. I may be known for my ice, but I always bring the heat.
Ew, that's like a 3.
I would say that's like a 6 out of 10. She's a jewelry designer.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little bit better. Sure. I'll agree with you with a 6 out of 10.
Okay. Jenny Wen, she's brand new, never seen her before. She says, I have plenty of everything, including opinions. I think 8 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I have plenty of everything.
I don't know her yet,
including opinions. So, yeah, I mean, when you come in with a tagline like that, that clearly means that you have a lot to say.
I want to see what she has to say, and I want to see what she has. Does she own her house? Lots of these Salt Lake City ladies don't own their homes.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? So, like they rent?
Yeah.
Really?
Like Jen Shaw's ski chalet.
Yeah, the huge ski chalet.
She rents that.
Okay, I remember the one that I didn't like. It was Whitney Rose, and it was, "This rose isn't scared to handle a little prick." Oh my God, that's horrible.
Okay, Lisa Barlow. "You don't have to like me. I love myself enough for the both of us."
Okay.
3 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. That's very self-centered.
Okay, Whitney Rose. "In a town of beauties and beasts, there's only one wild rose." Blah.
Oh my
3 out of 10.
God. I give that a 2.5.
Mary Cosby. She just freaks me out. Like,
why?
I think she's a cult leader.
What?
I don't like her. I don't like her.
Let's see if I can
she's
look
married
her
to her step grandfather. That's a whole
she
thing.
looks like a cult leader for sure.
She just freaks me out. Anyway, her new tagline: "If you come for me, I will send Jesus after you."
Oh,
1 out of 10.
That's a bit much.
1 out of 10.
If you come for me, I will send Jesus after you. Actually, according to Erika last night, that sounds like a threat. It's not a threat.
Promise.
It's a promise.
Okay, and this one, Jen Shaw.
Oh, God.
"The only thing I'm guilty of is being shamazing."
Okay.
0 out of 10.
Except for the fact that you actually are being like heavily considered to be committing a crime. So what crime did she allegedly commit?
Okay, so basically she was caught. She was running a telemarketing scam, specifically targeting senior citizens. And, telemarketing scams, like, the kind that we keep talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's a mastermind behind a bunch of those.
Microsoft is not calling you to make sure that your computer is good.
No. So I think it's like conspiracy to commit wire fraud. And there's a whole list of charges. Like, she could do like literally 30 years in jail.
Really?
That's the maximum, I think.
Like she started this telemarketing scam?
Yes.
Wow.
She is the mastermind behind all of it.
So, that's really interesting because do you just wake up one day and just decide that you're just going to start a telemarketing scam? I mean, how does that transpire?
I really don't know. But I was watching the trailer for Salt Lake City the other day. And like, the fact is she's just like not taking it seriously. Because here's a quote: "Do we need to add Kim Kardashian to our legal team?" Like,
okay.
No.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't like that.
And just crying because she's like, "Oh, I'm going to miss my kid's life." It's like, yeah, well, like, you ruined
But you did that.
several people's lives.
You created that, though. And that's the part that I don't really understand when it comes to situations like this is I don't get how we got here. Like, so did you wake up one day and you were trying to provide a service that helped people, and then it turned out that what you were doing, you figured out wasn't good, and then you kind of just said, well, we're in this far now, like, let's just keep going with it? Or did you know right from the beginning that this was not a good idea and that you were taking advantage of people, and you just said, well, I don't care, I'm making money? Because like, that's what I don't understand. It's hard for me to relate to that way of thinking.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. So you'll watch season 1, and like, Andy Cohen asks her what she does for a living, and she just basically spouts a bunch of nonsense and avoids the question. And what she said did not make sense at all. So I'm not really surprised.
That's bizarre.
And I'm very excited for season 2 because she was arrested on camera.
Oh, really? So while they were filming season 1.
So basically, no, it's season 2.
While they were filming season 2. Sorry.
So
okay.
They were all leaving to go on a trip. There was a bus that was picking them all up from Beauty Lab, which is Heather Gay's business. Okay. And she was on the bus, and then she gets a phone call from, I think, her husband, Coach Shaw. And she was like, okay, yeah, I'm just at Beauty Lab. Okay. Like, you can kind of hear her conversation, and then she just leaves. She gets into a car with her aunt, and then the feds show up to Beauty Lab, get on the bus, and they're like, we're looking for Jen Shaw. And they're like, well, she just left.
What?
Yeah. and then they go and find her and arrest her.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So I really hope that they're able to show this on the show.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to watch the first season now.
Yeah. And I find this like much more interesting than Erika, because it's like, we just don't really know what Erika did.
But here it's like Jen, you legitimately get to know.
Yeah.
See, and I like will always come back to this though, is that like, okay, so the other day I got a phone call from Hilton that, one of your family members had stayed with us and they've gifted you with a free vacation.
Okay.
Hit 1 to talk to an operator. So I always talk to them because
You do?
I do, because I just like find it interesting. I want to hear what they say, but B, I want to keep them on the phone because then they don't scam other people. Like as long as they're talking to me, they're not scamming somebody else.
Oh my God.
I pressed 1 and the lady's like, "Oh, hi. Thank you for calling Hilton. How are you doing today?" And I was like, "Great. How are you?" And she's like, "Good. Yeah, so first off, I just want to start off with your name." And I said, "Well, actually, I just wanted to," no, she said, "Sorry." She said, "I just want to confirm, is your postal code 250?" And I said, "No, actually it's not. And I was just wondering who my family member was that stayed with you that referred you to me." And then all of a sudden, like, click, they hang up. And so, but it's like, she was so nice on the phone. And so it's like, do you actually know that you're scamming somebody? Because I know how that conversation was going to go. Yeah. I was going to be like, "Oh my God, that's so great. Yeah, I would love to." And she'd go, "Okay, yeah, give me your credit card number."
Exactly.
Right. And so, but does she actually know that she's scamming me, or does she think that she's doing me a good service?
I don't know, because I think sometimes these scammers, like sometimes they don't speak English very well.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes they hire people in like India, like a call center, and they don't even know
that they're
scamming people.
Exactly.
But I don't know.
Because I also got a call from WestJet the other day, and right away it's like, if you want to add your number to the do not call list, press 2. So I did that, and then I got a call in about an hour later. So I said to press 1 to talk to somebody, and the guy's like, "Hi, thank you for calling WestJet." And I said, "Hi, actually, I had gotten a call earlier and I wanted to put my name on the do not call list." And he goes, "Well, actually, ma'am, if you could just wait a moment, I'm trying to let you know about a promotion that we're trying to offer you." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm asking you to just put my number on the do not call list." And he was really, really rude. And he's like, "I'm just trying to give you a promotion. I'm just trying to help you." And I said, "Well, I don't care about the promotion. I'm asking you to put my number on the do not call list." And he got so angry with me that he hung up the phone. And so I thought about it afterwards, and I was like, do you actually think that you work for WestJet and that you're actually trying to help me? Because maybe I missed out on a $990 promotion. I don't know. But like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel bad for all the people that get scammed, you know? And so then it's like Jen Shaw, she's on TV. She's literally making money being on TV and being this public personality. And meanwhile, you're doing that. So on the first season, what did she say that her job was? Like, did she talk about her job at all? Like, was it a shock when it came out in the media that she was part of this scam and no one knew about it?
Let me just find this quote. Sorry, let me just find it.
Because that's what I find like interesting, is that it's like, did everyone go along that whole first season thinking that everything's hunky dory, and then all of a sudden it comes out,
Who's Hunky Dory?
What's Hunky Dory? Then it comes out in the media that she's been doing this, and it comes as like a complete surprise to everyone, you know? Or did you kind of feel the whole season that it's like, I don't know about this chick?
No, she was always very, very vague about what she does.
Did.
I hope that the quote is here,
because it came out after the first reunion.
Oh, right. Okay. So she has like tons of assistants too. Like you'll see like on the tags at the bottom, it'll be like Jen's assistant number 1, number
assistant
2, number
3.
7. Like, yeah, there's like 8 assistants, I think.
Weird.
Okay. So Andy, there's 4 assistants. So Andy asked Jen why she needed 4 assistants. She said, "I need a lot of help, you know? They all do different things. I run a lot of different companies and businesses, and a lot of them have different roles in the companies." When Andy pressed and asked what she does for a living, Jen said, "My background is in direct response marketing for about 20 years, so our company does advertising. We have a platform that helps people acquire customers. So when you're shopping online or on the internet and something pops, we have the algorithm behind why you're getting served that ad." Even cast member and Jen frenemy Heather Gay was confused about how Jen made a living.
That to me does not seem like she could have that proprietary
and
algorithm.
It doesn't make sense, but it's like, yeah, you you help people acquire customers. You get a list of people,
right,
and you send it to other people.
Yeah.
You steal people's information and then they scam people.
Or you buy that information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of interesting.
It's very, very shady. And it's so funny because it's like Lisa Barlow in the reunion was just like nodding along like, yes, it's very lucrative.
Okay, I cannot wait to watch this
very
now.
good.
Yeah, I got to put a hold on Sex and the City and I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like
Sex and the City's not going anywhere.
No, the only reason why I'm rewatching it is because the new season's going to come out soon and I would like to watch it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to like be caught up, even though I've watched the whole thing like 3 times. But it just reminds me of how like terrible Carrie is in that show.
Oh, she's
like
the worst.
She's horrific. Like, okay, so I just watched the whole like her finally starting to date Big, and then he decides to move to Paris for work. And I'm not saying spoiler alert because I'm sorry, the show's been out for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So then he decides to move to Big, and then to move to Paris, and then he comes back and she's all upset, and just like the way she reacts in every single situation is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then she starts dating Aiden, but she's sleeping with Big, and it's like, ugh, and all of her friends are just don't even seem to really care that she's cheating on Aiden. It's like, how can you actually like involve yourself in this? Yeah. But whatever.
I hate all the characters on that show except for Samantha.
I love Samantha.
And she's not hurting anyone because she's always upfront about everything.
100%. But I know that's kind of how I feel. I feel like I've watched this show in different stages of my life and I've always related to it in different ways just based on how old I am and what I'm kind of doing. But I think now that I'm married and I'm like watching this show, there's a lot of this stuff that's like, thank God I'm not single anymore. Secondly,
and well, then this was before online dating too.
Exactly.
So like that's a whole
and
other thing.
It's different when you live in a big city like that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Some of the things that happen in that show, I'm just like, is that actually really that realistic? But I mean, maybe it was back then.
Maybe.
But you know what I thought was interesting is one of the quotes that Samantha says is how she said, in the new millennium, you know, everyone's going to be pansexual. It's not going to matter, you know, what kind of sexuality you have or like who you're sleeping with necessarily. We're all just people and you're just going to be sleeping with whoever you want to sleep with. It shouldn't matter who you are, what gender you are, what kind of sexuality you are, which I thought was really interesting.
That is interesting. And
because that is very similar to what's happening.
That is what's happening.
I thought that was very like forward thinking for 1997, you know? Which it's
absolutely.
But isn't that interesting how back in the 90s when this show, you know, was relevant and when it was current, it was very like, yeah, just be free, be you, sleep with who you want to sleep with, have fun, whatever.
Before like the internet.
Yeah. And then I feel like we went into this weird dip where like that was kind of taboo and you couldn't do things like that. And we're starting to now come out of it.
Because now there's like social media and slut shaming. And like that was not a thing in the 90s. If you didn't talk about who you're sleeping with, then nobody knew about it.
Exactly. And there wasn't this like social media platform that you could just post everything on all the time. And it made such a big deal about who was with who and who was hooking up with who and who was wearing this or having this.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that we could go back to that way of living. You know?
Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah. If all of a sudden social media wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think that social media was really the best invention. I think it's kind of harmed more than it really has done well. I mean, marketing's great, obviously. And, you know, as a business, it's great to be able to have a platform that you can actually market yourself on, because how else would you know about our business if you didn't read the paper or you weren't on social media without driving by? But at the same time, I mean, I don't think from a personal standpoint that it's beneficial. I mean, we've talked about how we wouldn't have Facebook if we didn't need it for our business. No, if I didn't need it for work.
No.
Yeah.
Probably not.
No, not at all. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I saw the other day that there was an open house happening at one of the mobile home parks. I thought that open houses weren't able to happen right now because of COVID.
No, they changed it. I think
so you're allowed to do that now.
I think that was like back in like July 15th when a bunch of the restrictions were lifted. I believe that's when open houses were allowed. Who knows what's going to happen going forward?
Yeah. Do you think that an open house is the most maybe not the most beneficial, but like a good value way of marketing like that house and yourself and getting leads? Like, do you think that it's worth the time that you put into it?
Okay, it depends. So yes, in the way of like for getting leads, maybe. There you definitely get a lot of looky-loos, nosy neighbors type of thing.
Yeah, people in the neighborhood that just want to come and see.
So, I mean, you're not going to get a lot of serious buyers, but I know people that have made a very good career out of hosting open houses, and they get a lot of buyers that way. Does it help you sell the house?
Not necessarily.
Not really. Not in this market. I mean...
Isn't that interesting?
But I mean, some people swear by them. So, but that has not been my experience. I've hosted not many open houses because the majority of the time I've been licensed has been during COVID.
Right.
And I haven't hosted one since the restrictions have been lifted. But I mean, I haven't really had very much luck with open houses. But,
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot, really. I mean, and you're right. You spend a lot of time, I think, with people that are coming there and not necessarily even buying or buying that house or whatever. So then you put a lot of time and effort into those leads and it doesn't necessarily go anywhere.
Yeah.
So then another question that I have for you, and I don't know if this is just in the States or just specific to this, but I've been watching Selling Sunset, and one of the things that they're really pushing is getting like backup offers. And so like, you know, Chriselle was trying to sell a house, and then Brett and Jason kept saying like, you need to get backup offers because you don't know if one's going to fall through, then you want to have something. Is that something that's like the same here? I mean, I guess right now it's hard because so many people are bidding on the houses anyways, but is that like a normal style of practice?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as you're like, I mean, if you get an unconditional offer, there's no room for a backup.
Right.
But if you get a conditional offer subject to financing or anything like that, yeah, absolutely. Get a backup offer.
Just in case. I mean, it sucks as a buyer because, I mean, if you really, really love the house, it's not a bad idea to put in a backup offer, but you have to keep in mind that you can't write an offer on another house. So you're right. Yeah.
So once you have an accepted backup offer, if something else comes up, you can't just offer on that.
Right.
So you have to be really committed to the house.
Yeah,
you're
that makes sense.
You're just waiting for the current offer to collapse, and it probably won't.
Right. Because based on what you put your subjects on. But if you like, couldn't you, like if you put your thing subject to like inspection or financing or whatever, and then you got an inspection and like the inspection was like pretty good, but maybe you were upset about like one thing, even though that's not like that big of a thing, could you still say that your inspection just didn't go well and you collapsed the deal?
Yeah.
But then what kind of recourse do you have? Like, are you on the hook for anything? You might lose your deposit.
Who are you in this?
Oh, the buyer. Sorry, the buyer. So like if
the buyer with the accepted offer.
Well, like let's say that me as a buyer is putting an offer onto a house and I've made it subject to all of these different things.
Yes.
And then I decide that I don't want this house anymore. I want another house instead. But like everything really checks out. Like my financing does check out. My inspection is pretty good. Could you just say that like, oh, my inspection, I wasn't happy with it. And so you collapse the deal?
No.
Because you still have an obligation to move forward with that.
So yes, it is an obligation. So there is a clause in the inspection clause. Sorry, there's a wording in the inspection clause is for a certain dollar amount. So if something is uncovered that needs repairing or replacing, that usually in a normal market you would put like $1,000, but people have been upping it when we're competing. So like normally, so you put like $1,000. So like, yeah, if you do a home inspection and they uncover something that's more than $1,000, you can get out of the contract if that's what you've put in the contract, right? And so that's not hard to do.
Right.
So you can't just be like, no, I didn't like it. Like you have to actually be like, this is why.
Gotcha.
We're getting out based on the roof needs to be replaced. We're getting out based on there's water damage. Like you have to have a real reason.
So then if you don't, like, let's just say you're like, I don't care. I just don't want to be a part of this offer anymore. You lose your deposit, but then are you also like legally obligated to still move forward with that contract?
Or you could be.
I see. Okay. Because in this market, haven't allowed the house to be open to other offers.
You could be. The seller can sue you for specific performance.
Gotcha.
Which means you have to carry out the contract, or for damages, which means like, you know, if they lost money and they had to resell the house.
Right.
In this market, that's not really happening. They're like, fine, whatever. We'll just move on to the next people. There's
offer anyway.
There's a whole lineup of people who want to buy it. So that's not. It's different in this market,
right?
But yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Interesting. I know it's kind of funny. Like you learn all of these things when you're obviously going to buy your house, but then you don't. Everything happens so fast sometimes. So then you don't like stop to kind of ask a lot of these questions.
Yeah.
I mean, we were happy with our house, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But, you know, you just don't really recognize all the different things that could happen. It's the biggest legal contract of your life, really.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. Speaking of which, this made me remember Housewives last night when PK was talking about how he was bankrupt for like $1 billion. How that's a lot
he
of
said
money.
He said it was 550 pounds, which is the equivalent, or 550 million pounds,
right?
Which is over
$1 billion
US dollars. Like,
that's
what?
crazy. How can you go bankrupt for that much money and you're still like surviving?
Yeah.
You know, like I know people that have gone bankrupt for like a couple $100,000 and like their credit's shot for years. They can't buy anything. They can't do anything. Like, and I'm sorry, but Dorit's not making enough money on Housewives to be paying for some of the stuff that they're...
I know. That's... Everybody has always been wondering, where do they get their money?
That doesn't really make sense.
No, it doesn't.
What does PK actually do? He's a developer, right? Or he's like an investment, like he invests in things.
Know. He's fucking Boy George's manager.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. I feel like he's just his best friend. Like, I don't feel like he actually manages anything. No, and I'm sorry, I like Boy George, but what is Boy George actually doing right now? Is he touring? Like, is he playing shows?
Well, I mean, they went to Boy George's concert a couple seasons ago.
In the amphitheater. That's right. Yeah, well, I don't know. Just saying. So I put on our Instagram the other day asking about like questions that we should answer on our podcast. One of them was, how did the podcast start? And I know we've kind of talked about this before a little bit, but I thought it'd be interesting to maybe just talk about like how it started and what our like thought is for how the podcast is going to go and where it's going to go.
I like that because I think we've probably already talked about how it started.
We have. And, you know, just like a little recap. I mean, we're both women in business and we are both always looking for ways to market ourselves and market our business and how we can grow that. And this is just a really unique platform to do that. And I mean, it gives us a chance to talk about ourselves and our lives and the things that we find interesting.
And I mean, have you ever like been sitting with your girlfriend and you're just chatting and you're like, we could have a podcast.
This is so interesting.
I think everybody said that.
Everyone would find us so funny. And I think I'm hilarious.
I mean, I think I'm fucking hilarious.
When I listen back to myself, I'm like, fuck, Sherry, you sound so annoying. The things that you talk about and the way that you talk is so annoying. But yeah, so I mean, we just kind of figured, why not share our knowledge a little bit? I mean, we've both been in various different industries and different positions and have, you know, unique point of view on life and very similar points of view on things, obviously, and feel like the things that we know and have to talk about would be relevant.
Yeah.
You know? And I think for me, I'm always looking for different things that would be relevant to a lot of different people. And so I'm always trying to think of new topics that we can talk about, new guests that we can bring on that would be relevant to different people. And so I've actually been reaching out to a few different people over the last week of just other women in business and different industries that I thought would be interesting to have on. So, you know, bear with us and stay tuned to kind of who some of those people might be, because I think we want this to work. We want it to do well.
And we have fun doing it.
Absolutely. I love doing this every week.
And we love talking with all of our listeners on social media.
Yeah. And it feels good, I think, to see that people are actually listening to our episodes and that they find them really interesting and they find what we talk about interesting and funny and relevant. And, you know, I love when people message us and they're like, hey, what was that winery that you were thinking or that you guys talked about? Like, I've got someone visiting and I want to bring them. That's awesome. you know? So
yeah, we love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's like, I don't care about like going viral. I don't need like millions of followers. I don't need to be famous, all that kind of stuff. But I would like to be that thing that people get excited about, and they want to listen to it every week because they're like, oh, that would be so interesting. I want to learn from that.
Yeah.
You know, or, hey, I learned this while listening to this podcast. Awesome. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're going. Or
even just like, these bitches make me laugh sometimes.
Exactly. I think they're fucking hilarious. That's what I want.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's how we feel about Jackie Schimmel.
Yeah.
She's fucking hilarious.
I haven't listened to this week's episode yet, but I just caught up on last week's episode when she's back from Paris. Mm-hmm. Oh, so funny.
I haven't listened at all in like a couple of weeks. The last episode that I listened to was when she was just leaving for Paris.
Right.
So
she did an episode while she was in Paris that just like made me cringe because obviously her husband Andrew doesn't listen to the podcast, and like I think he knows who he married, but it's just so funny. The one where she's in Paris, he's in the room with her, and I am just laughing because I'm like, this is what he is listening to his wife talk about. Like, God. It is just so ridiculous.
Did he go with her to Paris?
She went to Paris or by herself,
right?
And then they met in Spain for a wedding.
Oh, I see.
And then they continued the trip. I think they went to a couple different places in like Spain, and then they went back to Paris.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And she was just kind of like, you know what, this is my solo trip, so you
fuck off,
like go do your like thing. I don't even know why you're here. Oh my God. Type of thing.
So savage. That's hilarious.
You can kind of hear him like mumbling a couple things in the background, and she's just like, shut up.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be weird when you've been doing a podcast by yourself for so long to like sit and have somebody else in the room because you kind of feel awkward. Like, so when I got this all set up last night and I was testing it all out, and Jeremy came and sat where you're sitting, and I just like threw it on record, and he's like, so you guys just sit here and talk? I'm like, yeah, literally. He's like, isn't that weird? I'm like, kind of. I mean, you talk to each other, and while you're talking, you hope that whoever's listening finds it relevant or thinks it's funny or is laughing along with you, but you have no idea if they are or not. So at the end of the day, this could be all dead air that no one finds interesting at all, and we would have no idea.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, but that's how podcasting works. Also, so Deanna and I have been watching One Tree Hill every Sunday, and Deanna says that Peyton Sawyer walked so that I could fly because the show came out in like the early 2000s, and she was podcasting on the show.
Oh, she was?
Yeah. So she was like, she would have these like nightly things where she would just turn her webcam on, and you could like go in and watch her webcam, and she would just be like drawing or playing music or like sitting there because she's like very teen angst. And then she started podcasting where she was just like talking about her life. And that was not a very big thing in the early 2000s to do that kind of stuff. And so Deanna's like, you really need to like credit your podcast to Peyton Sawyer because she started it, and now this is where you've come. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
No.
But I mean, it's interesting. Also, there's so many podcasts about a lot of dumb shit.
Oh, 100%. And this was one of them.
I know. That's so true. I mean, we're very like niche, but I'm just like, you can listen to podcasts all about Harry Potter. Not that that's dumb because I love Harry Potter. I'm just saying.
Oh, I listen to 2 separate podcasts about The Office on a regular basis.
Exactly.
Not just 1, 2.
I like The Office, but
I love The Office.
I don't know how you find time to listen to all these podcasts.
I listen to podcasts all the time. Like if I'm...
How can you work while you're listening to a podcast?
I can't really work while I'm listening to a podcast. Like it just gets like, I can't concentrate on like if I'm like writing an email or anything.
No.
But like if I'm getting ready in the morning, I have a podcast on. If I'm...
Okay, yeah.
If I'm every single time I'm driving in my car, I have a podcast because I used to speed like crazy. And I find if I listen to music, I speed more.
Oh, so that's interesting.
If I am in my car, I have a podcast on. Always.
Okay, so that's interesting. So, because I listen to music. Like when I drive, I listen to music because I sing the whole time.
Okay.
And so like when I get ready in the morning, I put a show on. So then, okay, so I could be doing podcasts instead.
And sometimes I put a show on and sometimes I put a podcast on. It depends. Like if there's something that I really like, I'm not just going to put on like a show just for no reason.
Right.
Like I'll put on a show if I want to watch it. But like I've subscribed to so many podcasts a week that like typically I'm like, if I don't listen to them, like they all pile up.
That makes sense.
Piled up.
I started watching The Prince this morning. So The Prince is a show on HBO Max.
Oh, I want to watch it.
I'm not sure who makes that show.
Oh, it's Gary Janetti.
Okay. Oh, okay. So Gary Janetti. This show seems very similar to like Rick and Morty, Bob's Burgers. So I don't know if Gary Janetti also is involved in those, but it seems very similar. So it's all about the royal family. Prince George is the main character, and then it's got, you know, Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, Prince William, the Queen, everything. It's a complete parody show, and I would rank it in the same caliber as like Family Guy, American Dad, South Park. So if you like that kind of stuff, then you'll like this show. Sure do. I love the royal family, so like this is right up my alley anyways, and I do think that like shows like that I find really funny. Like that is my humor. So I only watched the first 10 minutes of this show while I was getting ready this morning. Dear Lord, it's kind of like it's different. It's out there.
Okay, I really want to watch it.
Like the Queen shoots one of her like ushers in the main, like the first like 5 minutes, like because he was bothering her while she was trying to have a nap. Like,
well, she is the queen.
Exactly. So it's very interesting. I know that it references a lot of stuff with pop culture and obviously everything that's going on with the royal family right now. So I know it references a lot of that stuff, and I'm really excited to watch it because I think it's going to be really funny and it's very interesting so far. And I like kind of quirky out there shows. Have you seen Rick and Morty at all?
No, never.
I've only watched an episode here and there, but I do find it really interesting. Like it's very kind of sci-fi. So I'm sure that once I watch this show, I'll watch Rick and Morty and I'll know I'll like it. But yeah, it's interesting. So I didn't subscribe to HBO Max on Crave though.
I know, because it's like $20 a month.
Yeah. So I have been I found it like just like streaming online kind of thing. But I don't even know how many seasons are of this show. I think only one.
I think, maybe two actually. Maybe. Because I feel like, because they've been, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills have been on
that
and
show.
I feel like that's season 2.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Because I saw that Rinna was on there, and then who else was on there?
Oh, all of them.
Oh, all of them have been on The Prince.
Yes, because I think, and sorry if I'm wrong, don't at me about this, but what I think happens is Meghan Markle joins the cast of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
I see. Okay, that would make sense because they're in LA.
I mean, that is a very good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a very good idea because we would like to watch it, but I have a feeling that would go terribly.
Oh, 100%. But I would love to see it.
Oh, absolutely. I like Meghan Markle. I'm sorry.
I do too.
Like, I like Meghan Markle.
I do too. Absolutely.
I just think that all these people who hate on Meghan Markle all the time, like, I don't understand it. No. So anyways, we got really political on the last episode, so we won't get political this episode, but
I don't even think that was political, by the way.
I don't think it was either.
We aren't taking a side. We're just saying don't protest at the fucking hospitals. 100%. That's just stupid.
100%. I agree. I don't think that we were getting super, super political. There's a lot more political that we could be. And I think you're right. We weren't taking sides. I mean, at the end of the day,
we weren't saying don't protest. We just said don't do it at the hospital.
And we've always said, be you, live your life, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
As I used to say at the French place, every single time I did a pre-shift, I'd always say, fly free, do your thing, live your lives.
I would say, fuck off and leave me alone.
And that's the reason that Allie wasn't a manager for very long.
Well, that's not why I wasn't.
I know, I'm just joking. Anyways, we're not as political as we could have been. No. But at the end of the day, I think that it's important to share opinions sometimes.
I think we got to wrap it up.
I think you're right, because football is starting
we have
in
a time
13 minutes.
I got to make sure all of you fucking bitches have paid your money.
Exactly. Also, I've been saying pumpkin sluts for like a week because I just think that's so funny.
It is.
I've never even had a pumpkin spice latte.
I have. I mean, they're kind of good, but like, no.
Pumpkin's not really my thing. No. So anyways, this has been lovely. Stay tuned for future episodes because I have like a long list of people who I would like to bring on as guests. Yes. And I'm really excited about all of them. So thank you for joining and thank you for listening because it honestly really means a lot. Yes. So
thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.